What's up guys, this is Shark talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we'll be talking about Rancid Festival Eagle Maul banner. In this banner we have 3 limited styles, Eagle Maul and Black and Subir. And you have 20% chances when you get an SS to get an off banner. The same off banners that are also on Leon's banner. Leon's banner still offers more value because you have Leon, a meta character, and also you get 15 pulls for 3000 jewels. Okay, so let's start talking about Eagle Maul. Well, Eagle Maul has only one SS style in JP, and we also have an S style from an event to complement inheritance options. For status, we have 116% intelligence. This is the highest value for global right now. Also 104% will. We have arrows for both and bonuses too. She also has 92% agility, so the status is pretty high. Her accuracy will not be a problem. Her endurance is pretty low, and she actually can be used against physical damage, but more into that later. Her charisma is also pretty high. If she gets healed, it will heal a lot. Well, for passives we have Life Spiral. This one at the end of a turn, if you are dead, you will just recover HP by medium effect. Well, this reminds me of 2 other characters that we have in the game, like Rey. Princess Rey has it. She also does the same, but recovers with much less. There is also a recent character that is Vampire Lady, Global X version, that has something similar. In her case, recovers small. In the case of Eagle Maul, it heals more, but if you get hit by poison, you will not revive. Then the second passive is Mastery 1, Intelligence and Will. On the start of a turn, her intelligence and will be buffed, but only 5%. This is something that also happens with Monica, and it's not a type of passive that I'm enjoying too much because it takes 4 turns for you to get the max value and it's too low. Also recovers BP. The good thing is the BP part here. It's also overloaded passive. And now the last one is Fired Up 6, increasing damage by 30% at all times. It's the only damage passive, but at least she gets a little extra intelligence. For skills, we have Shadow Haze as the first one. This one here was changed in global. They increased 1 BP cost. It's an AoE attack that can debuff STR. But they give something much better. This attack has deep power and a chance to recover between 1 to 5 BP. So it is very nice when you are using this for debuff because she has 4 BP all the time. And then everything that you can get extra will help you use a better attack if you want to nuke as well. Then the second attack, Malicious Trick, is very different. You have 7 BP cost and S power alongside a debuff that is attack down stance. Let me tell you where you need this. Let's say you are facing a boss that has the 5 weaknesses that cleanses all types of debuffs that you apply, but it will not cleanse this. You can apply this even if the boss has the 5 weakness to decrease the damage that you receive by a margin. But it's a single target attack. Then the last one, Wicked Rapture. This is one of the best attacks for farming in the game. It has shadow damage. Shadow damage is largely resistant most of the time, but when the enemies are weak, you are totally gonna use Eagle Maul. This is a 10 BP fast attack, strong by itself, cheap cost, and it also has this same mechanic. You will get between 1 to 10 BP when you use this. She starts with 11, and when you use this, you already have 1 BP. Next turn, you get 3. And that means if you get at least 6 BP back, you will have Wicked Rapture available again. This has a 40% chance to happen on average. And if you get this again, you can use Wicked Rapture 3 times in a row. Well, chances are slim, but it may happen. But if it doesn't, you can still use Wicked Rapture. You have enough BP for Shadow Haze, and most likely you have enough for Wicked Rapture at least on wave number 3 or turn 3. So very good damage, AoE, fast, easy to use, a character that will be used for farming, but you have just to remember the shadow damage is more resistant than other stuff, but against humans, they are always weak to shadow. Now, the good thing about Eagle Maul is that you can leave Malicious Trick on 10 BP, and that will make her a full AoE attacker, sometimes using Shadow Haze, sometimes using Wicked Rapture, but works pretty fine on auto. Things like Hidden Dojo and normal farmings will be super easy when using Eagle Maul. Not only that, she also has inheritance from her S style. Poisonous Bow Plus, this is a 5 AP A power attack that can inflict poison if you are missing out on poison, but besides that you should not be using this too much. Energy Storm Plus is useless, you have better stuff. And the last attack is the best one. Refined Black makes her also a single target nuker. The only problem is that it requires 13 BP, meaning this is locked into turn 2. This is a spell that hits for shadow and heat damage with E power only, but hits 6 times. It's one of the strongest attacks in the game. It's comparable to Mirza Left Fork, but Mirza buffs himself between each hit, meaning that the damage scales super well. But for farming, if there's one wave of normal enemies and you want to just do nuke on wave 2, she will help you a lot, and also helps you deal more damage in boss fights. So remember, when you are using Shadow Haze, you are getting BP back in a boss fight where you need to debuff STR, and then eventually you have just enough to use Refined Black in Overdrive to help kill the boss before something happens. So it's very interesting character. Sadly, is more locked into shadow damage. Only Refined Black has heat potential. There is also some other cycles. If you want, you can just use Malicious Trick twice in a row. If you increase Shadow Haze to 5, she will just revert back to Malicious Trick. Maybe useful in raids if you want to survive better, because this one will decrease the overall damage off of the boss. But her most used cycle is Wicked Rapture, Shadow Haze, and Wicked Rapture. It's powerful, but it is still a little restricted because of the shadow damage only. That makes her a powerful character, a very high double S tier on the list, but it's still not a triple S in my opinion because of the RNG thing and because of Shadow being very resisted. Usually humans are weak to Shadow, but not many other types, so the usefulness reduces a lot. Next character is Subir, and we only have 3 versions of Subir in the game and nothing else in JP so far. This version is from Attacks. You can get it anytime. The first one is limited, was released alongside Nawal's daughter, and now Feel My Rage is the most recent one. So you see a lot of difference between the status because One World C is kind of old. 115% SCR is pretty huge, and he does have more will than Endurance. Better agility, 93%, very nice. Well, we have double arrows for STR and 1 arrow for wheel, so if you want agility you can find in the S version or on the Lunar New Year version. Well, this beer here has very nice STR and has bonuses for that and wheel as well, so those 2 things are what he focused, and it actually makes sense because Subir is a buffer. He doesn't want to get inflicted with status elements, so having higher wheel will protect him better. And agility is also another important status because he needs to go first when he's doing damage, but his attacks are fast too. Well, for passives we have Breath of Invigoration. This, when he attacks, he gets a heal of around 150 and also recovers his own BP by 1. Then there is Weak Point Focus 5. This is the first time that I see this between the premium styles, and there is also Fired Up 6. When he's attacking a weak target, he gets 30% and 30% at all times. So at max potential, it's 60% or only 30. Because he attacks with 2 elemental types, 60% will happen most of the time when you are using Subir. This is a very high damage output. Mystic Asylus, for example, also has 60% that she needs to sacrifice LP, but she is built differently, but just to compare the potential in damage. Now for skills, the first one is Double Trust. This was changed in Global. It's now only 1 BP for a C power attack that spears damage. That's actually pretty... Now for skills, the first one is Double Trust Plus, allowing this to be amplified in other characters too. Double Trust is actually pretty nice in Global. It's only 1 BP and you get C power. Because he gets 1 BP back when he attacks, this is also exclusive to Global, he does not spend as other characters do. By doing good damage already, this is pretty neat. Then the second attack, Wave Thrust, is his selling point. Wave Thrust is a fast attack with C power, and it brings Pierce and Cold this time, and also buffs all surviving allies agility by up to 25% on max level. Well, for 7 BP cost and a character that gets 4 per turn means that he will always be using this every 2 turns easily, but since you start with 10, you get even more uses. For example, you can use Wave Thrust on turn 1, then again on turn 2, and then again on turn 4. When you compare this to the competition, there is Shendu. Shendu has a fast attack with 8 BP cost, and he can only use that every 2 or 3 turns. Subir is much better on doing this, has very good agility, and is now the best secondary agility buffer after Matriarch in Awal's Daughter. He can even buff agility faster than Awal's Daughter, but Awal's Daughter has something else. She also gives 1 BP to everyone, helps Matriarch keep her Piano victory, but Subir is a third better agility buffer now. You can also use Snowy if you want to start evading faster, but he beats even Snowy on doing this. Well, a very good attack, one of the best ones right now. And can also be used for farming. You can use Subir on an Amazon Raid X formation. You don't need to place him on the front line, and then you can switch between attacks. He will kill the first wave and then the third wave, depending if you build a very good weapon for Subir. He will serve you well. Very similar to what we do with the human version of Fornews. The damage will be even higher. But it's Pierce and Cold. He does not have Pierce and Blunt. That is a very good combination from human Fornews. The last attack is Vortex Spear. This one is not so powerful by itself, it's only S power, but it costs 8 BP, brings double damage with Pierce and Cold, and gives you Morale up, large, for 4 turns. That means that you get 35% increase in damage, because it's only for the turns after. You can attack 3 times with something like Double Thrust, and then use Vortex Spear again to get the Morale up back. With Morale up, Double Thrust is gonna hit for much more. And also you can run on auto by leaving Wave Thrust on 8 and Vortex Spear on 8 too, so he always use the single target attacks. But more for raids or something like that, because this is not so strong for some content. Now let's talk about rotations. Wave Thrust can be used twice, like I said, and then he's gonna use Double Thrust, and then Wave Thrust, and then keep the cycle between skill 1 and skill 2. This is super nice because he's buffing agility on auto, and 2 times right on the start. And if you are using him together with other buffers, this is gonna help you evade faster. And not only that, he does that on auto, something that other buffers don't do. Shendu cannot do it on auto after turn 1. Nawal's Daughter is a manual character. Snowy can do, but only twice. Another character that can do on auto is Matriarch with Shining Glory, but only 2 times. So there is something very interesting about Subir by being able to do it with fast, precise cycle. So another thing that you can do if you want damage, you can open with Vortex Spear and then use Double Thrust 2 times, and then you should not wait 4 turns, because then you get extra damage with Vortex Spear from that 35 Morale up, or else Vortex Spear will not feel so strong. He doesn't have a very good single target nuke. Well, there's also inheritances, but the S style don't offer anything worked. There is Reaper, only useful if you are bringing him to Remembrance against Kazinsi. And the New Year style has access to Maelstrom, so depending on the formation and placements, you can use this on turn 2 for very big damage. There is also Brush Stroke. This is a roll attack with B power, not that bad. A nice lens will get an Amplify in the future for roll damage as well, with only 4 BP codes, and he can keep using it. But Subir is a very powerful character for farming. Wave Thrust is just like Spinning Trample, but instead of Pierce and Blunt, you have Pierce and Cold. He has very good damage passives. We work for farming and boss fights. In boss fights, you're gonna use Wave Thrust with evasion strategies, and that should work to cheese a lot of content. I know that this is still relevant, and if you want to play some old content, you can still go and use him as a new player. He's gonna help you a lot. So Subir is a very strong character, a premium one. You receive a very high SS grade, and better for everyone. Old accounts and new accounts, Subir is an important character for the future. But it's still okay to skip Subir if you have characters like Matriarch, Nawal's Daughter, Shendu, and Snowy. And now I am on our Masaga website and I filtered all agility buffers. So the best one is Matriarch. She buffs 4 status with only 5 BP and she has access to 4 BP every turn. She can keep casting, this makes a whole difference. The next best one is Nawal's daughter. She buffs all status while also giving everyone's 1 BP in global and a defense enhancement. After that, we now enter a lot of different characters. There is Snowy in global and also Shining Glory from Matriarch UDX. Those 2 attacks uses LP, so they are limited. After those 2, we have Subir. Subir is actually the best one because he has high base agility and uses only 7 BP and gets 1 BP back every turn. He beats iToken and Shendu. He has higher agility than them and a better cycle. After all these characters, JP just got the Sword version of Princess White Rose and an S version of Rocky that can also buff agility. Those 2 styles are pretty recent, so we're gonna have like a lot of time without any new agility buffer in the squad. So that's why I believe that Subir is so good. The last character is M Black. We have one welfare style of him and now the first limited one. It's not even worth comparing the status, it's much higher here. We have 115% STR and 102% endurance with bonuses and arrows for both status. He tries to focus on those 2 things. His dexterity is kinda low for current game. 88% agility is okay and he has 60% will, not so high. For passives, we have Deck Toxinator. On the end of a turn, he cleanses all status elements because he's a robot and also gets 1 BP. This is nice. His second passive is called Critical Knowledge 5. All of his attacks will deal critical damage against human types, and critical damage will increase by 50%. This is a very confusing passive because critical damage only increases damage by 20%. So okay, and now we get an extreme increase, so critical damage against humans will do 70% more damage. That is actually very good, but against humans, he's a specialist. And then we have High Lethal Tension, attack increases by 20%, and when landing a critical attack, it increases by 30%. Yeah, it's a different value, they are not the same. You can even check here on our Masaga, they are explaining it. So when hitting humans, he's gonna get 20 by base, then 50 by critical knowledge, so 70, and then 30% by the second critical, and then 20% more. So it's 120% increase in damage against human types. That's pretty huge, but only against human. Again, there's not that many enemies that are human in the game, but there are some in Leon's story arc and some specific events where we face characters from the game. Well, for attacks we have Iron Wave, the first one. It's a fast attack with cheap BP cost, but pretty weak, only E power. Will do a little more than normal attack, but at least it's AoE, it will help you when farming, together with other characters. Then there is Homing Blade. This is a random attack with 2 hits, and it deals critical also against other types, besides human, fire, water, wind, and earth spirit. For farming, sometimes you may find them, but it's a random attack, it's kind of hard to take full advantage of this. It's not weak by itself, so maybe you are better off fighting against humans. And then the last attack is Swallow Reversal Plus. It's an amplify over an old skill and it's now extremely worked. For 8 BP you get triple S damage and it also gives you defense down for 3 turns, decreasing the defense of the enemy by up to 15%. And this cannot be cleansing by normal ways from enemies and gives critical damage against flowing enemies. So if you are fighting against some birds, especially those from Saga Frontier 2, they are weak to slash. And then this will get all his critical passives of 120% increase. So if there's only one enemy and it's a bird or something or a dragon, go there, use his attack, the damage will be massive, very massive. And also everyone that attacks after him is gonna do more damage because you applied defense down. So let's say you want a single target cycle for him. He can open with Swallow Reversal, that's gonna do some good damage. And then he's gonna use Homing Blade. Then on turn 3 he's gonna use a normal attack, but on turn 4 he can use Homing Blade again. If you want to go for AoE cycle, you need to inherit his attack from Welfare style, call it Moon Scrapper. It's not so strong right now, it's only B power, but it does have shadow damage. And after you use Moon Scrapper, you just stay using Iron Wave. For that, you have to leave Homing Blade on Nate. So he does have access to single target and AoE cycle. Sadly, his opener is not as strong right now, but this will change since in JP, with his next style, he got access to an Amplify over Moon Scrapper, becoming a power 28 mod, and will also apply a Weakened Stance to the enemies that lasts for only one turn, and you can do more damage with your older characters. But this is not fast, he needs to be on the front line of an Amazon Raid X to perform well. In JP, he also got a new style called Metal Al Kaiser. This style has two types of debuffs, intelligence and dexterity, and a powerful row attack that's also an opener that helps people do more damage, but at least this one is fast. He's also still a character focused on doing critical damage. And Black is good when he is good, but it's not all the time. That's why he doesn't have such a large appeal for most accounts. Getting extra damage here and there is nice, but it's not a character that will help you in many fronts. But at least I can say that you find more flying enemies than humans most of the time. You can take some advantage, but sadly the value is low. And Black will not receive a double S grade, especially because of his limited usage, but will be on the top of S tier. Sadly, he's the last interesting character here and can be easily skipped by everyone. And now back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? Well, depends. Depends, because Lian is still the best banner. Go summon for it if you still haven't. Or you can wait, but don't forget to claim your Lian before the banner goes. So if you don't have many gems, you can forget about this banner and wait for older ones. If you do have some gems, this banner is not bad. Subir is a premium unit that will be useful in evasion strategies and also on farming, and it's easy to use, just like Human for News. Eagle Maul is a premium farmer with also usefulness in boss fights, while M Black may not be so useful, he will shine when he is. This banner will receive a silver award because of having a buffer here. If we didn't have a buffer, it would not be so interesting, but getting buffers is always a good thing that will pay off when you try to clear content that extremely hard. With that said, this is my opinion. What is yours? Please say here on the comment section. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you want to support the channel, please use the links on the description. I hope to see you soon in the next one. Bye.